Hey, what's up? Matt Wyatt here. Egg Bowl 2017 coming up in 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is, in Starkville. Let's take a look at Ole Miss and really just kind of looking at their last game against Texas A&M, which is a pretty good, example of things that they've done well throughout the year. Did some of those well against A&M. Things they've struggled with throughout the year. Struggled with them last Saturday as well. Let's take a look. Now, Ole Miss was able to run the ball pretty successfully in the game against A&M. Jordan Wilkins had 140 yards. Here's a 3rd and 2 situation out here in the midfield. A&M puts everybody in the box, including 5 guys with their hands down. And what they're doing, you got the strength of the formation over here with a tight end and an up back, and they're gapping it on that side. And then on the back side, they're trying to go head up the center and the guard just to be sound. Ole Miss is going to get it blocked on the edge and then bring the counter blocker around to take off the corner on that side. They block it pretty well. So that's a nice job, on the line of scrimmage. So now it's up to this guy to come out here and pick up the corner. And what you can't do defensively is avoid the block. He kind of steps out of the way, and that creates the hole for the running back, and you get a big first down. Here's a long yardage situation for the Ole Miss offense. It's 3rd and 15 deep on the A&M side of the field. It's 2-by-2, 4 receivers out of the shotgun, ball on the left hash. And look what A&M does. It's man everywhere. There's a safety here, and there's another lined up off the screen. And, they're going to man it underneath all the way across. Something you see Ole Miss do a lot. Run it off on the outside and try to figure out a way to get A.J. Brown either out-cut or in-cut, one or the other one-on-one versus a DB. Right here, it's actually nice, coverage in pretty good position. But once a throw's made, a tight throw, you can't miss that tackle, and you can't dive at his feet and not make contact. Really poor tackling. Here's how A&M responded with a big play. They line up 2 receivers, 1 receiver into the boundary, 2 backs, but they motion a guy out. And when they do that, you see how it's man coverage with a free safety back here. When they motion this guy out, it's going to take a running back or a linebacker out of there in man-to-man coverage. So he goes and now, you see he's going to get him in man-to-man. Everybody else is man-to-man. The other thing, if you back it up, you've got linebackers coming, all right? The 2 guys that remain in the box, here they come because you're going man-to-man behind it. So middle linebacker comes, is untouched, is unblocked, but just hesitates because he sees this going on. He doesn't know if it's a read or not, and he just freezes, which really helps the play. The other thing is the center pulls around and picks up the backside linebacker really well in the blocking scheme. So there you see linebacker unblocked, doesn't make a play. Another linebacker comes and gets blocked by the center, and now you're off and running because this safety's already run over here to help in coverage. Big run to the second level, and the safety has to come all the way across the field and knock him out of the 25. A couple of plays later, Ole Miss is still in a 4-3 here defensively, ball on the right hash, so they can shade it over this way. And what A&M does is they run action screen. So run action this way, gets the linebackers moving, and then throw the screen back into the boundary. That little run fake got 2 guys to stay here, and it helps you to get it thrown back on the screen this way. Now what you don't expect is a guy to flip the entire field, bring it from one sideline over to the other sideline in a big play. Here was a huge run in the game, another counter with Jordan Wilkins, and look what Ole Miss does to get it done. So the ball's on the right hash, and they put this big, 3 receiver formation into the boundary. So everything for A&M, 4 down linemen, but their linebackers are shaded over this way, all 3. You got one of the safeties walk down on this side. There's another off screen. So because of the formation, Ole Miss gets the whole defense over here on this side of the field, and then they're going to run it back this way with the counter. See, so pull 3 guys to this side. Now, it takes blocking here, and they get that done, but they've got the counter working really just on alignment. The other thing is the linebacker is a little too inside and is going to go at the inside shoulder of that blocker, and they have leverage right away. Big run, you get Jordan Wilkins to the second level, and you got to respect his ability to come back and been injured a little bit this year, but still running well. Here's what's a mistake in the secondary for Ole Miss, and they had this 1-score lead, but A&M gets a big play. A&M's going to put those 2 receivers into the boundary, the short side of the field, and the single receiver guys only lined up on the hash, They're going to motion out so that they get 2 by 2. Now, when they motion, Ole Miss tries to rotate it to something. You see a defender pointing, and you have another pointing and moving up. And I'm not sure that everybody's on the same page, because on the run fake, this safety comes flying up to take that fake, and it gets a guy open on a vertical. So now the run fake's going to happen. What you've got is, after the motion, it's 4 verticals up the field, and you're going to read those safeties. One little run fake, it pulls him down just like they wanted, and they get a guy open up the hash on the vertical. Little bit of a bust in the secondary, jumping all over a run fake. Here on a 3rd and 6 for A&M, Ole Miss gives them a 4-3, cover 2 in the secondary, like classic cover 2, just kind of soft defense look on 3rd and 6. A&M bunches it up here, and what they're trying to do, they empty, is they're going to mesh here across the field with the up guy. So they're going to mesh right there. And with that happening, the other thing is 3rd guy outside is running the runoff vertical, and Christian Kirk on the inside's out and up. So you got a lot working on the route. Now, I think it's an example of a QB guessing. Right now, with all these linebackers dropping, you get what you want, and that's the mesh right at the first down stick, and you're open. The mesh here holds this linebacker up. Your other linebacker has dropped, and so it's a really easy throw to 1 right here for a first down. But I think what this is kind of guessing on it from the quarterback, bound and determined to force it to number 3, his best receiver. Even though it's semi-covered, he goes back shoulder, and they make a play. So A&M uses it again, bunch down here in the red zone. Ole Miss switches it in the red zone to 3 down, 4 linebackers. They're going to bring all 7 guys and go straight man-to-man. There's no safeties. Everybody's got a guy in man-to-man. And what you're going to see on the bunch route, top guy is trying to get up in the safety's face, run a little out route. Your outside receiver is out and getting back on top. They're going to follow him here and try to get an out route open. So what they're really trying to do is get some things confused up here and get an out route. What happens is number 1 gets covered man-to-man, and in man-to-man responsibility, this safety forgets what his job is and gets frozen with a guy right in his face, and you've got a bust. So now there's 1 guy here with 2 receivers in his area, and the top guy is going to get on top because of the bust by the safety, and he's wide open. So, in this game against A&M, Ole Miss was able to have some success running the ball, and it kind of set everything up. And then all of a sudden, there were adjustments at halftime by A&M and their staff. Defensively, a little more 3-man front maybe in the second half, but just started to get pressure by rushing 4 and 5 guys. And when they got pressure on the QB, it really just shut everything down for Ole Miss offensively. Now, what happened in the second half of this game with Ole Miss on top is A&M's front 4 started getting pressure pretty consistently on the quarterback. And here's Ole Miss actually going 6 and 7-man protect with the back staying in. But you have 2 tackles that get beat in protection on both sides. Up top right here, you're going to give up pressure to the outside. And then in the face of the quarterback, the tackle is going to give up pressure right there. Now, I don't think QB can see what's coming from the backside, even though he makes the play. I think it's this miss in his face that forces him to pull the ball down, and then it's a backside guy that actually hits him. So that was second down. They come back the very next play on third down, and A&M switches it to a 50 front with a nose guard. And this time it's the right guard that's going to get beat right off the snap and give up pressure to the QB for another sack. 2 sacks in a row. Now, A&M's ability in the second half behind to play man-to-man coverage and get some wins with pressure on the quarterback was the difference in the game in the second half. And they switch it up here, go 3 down with a nose guard. But what they're doing is it's really kind of a zone blitz. You have a safety walking up who's going to look up the tight end, H-back, in man-to-man. So who has the back if he were to go out? Well, they're actually dropping the defensive end. It's his responsibility if it comes his side. The other thing is they're twisting in the middle, and Ole Miss doesn't pick it up, and they give up pressure to a twisting defensive tackle. So on the snap, he goes that way. Here you go. You're coming across, and the back's coming, or the backer's coming as well. Backer gets picked up. The other thing that has happened is they're running off on the outside. They would like to get this out route to A.J. Brown, and they're going to bring the tight end across versus man-to-man, which is a good concept. But this pressure by an unblocked defensive tackle on a twist, your quarterback spins out of there and tries to make a late throw. When you spin that head around and let it go, you lose guys in the coverage sometimes, and the pick six was a huge play for A&M. Now, here's A&M up by 4. It's 3rd and 21. So, like, this is the original marker on the line of scrimmage. They've got a long way to go. So, A&M's got 2 guys off the screen you can't even see, and only 3 down in the game. So, they're going with 6 DBs. And they drop a guy and only rush 4 players. Let me show you. This is what happens to quarterbacks when you have been hitting them throughout the game. So they're twisting and rushing 4. That's all it is, a 4-man rush. And if you read the play to the wide side of the field, what you get is they're giving you this throw to A.J. Brown up the hash right there. But because he's been hit a bunch, what he's thinking is, where's the rush coming from? And his eyes come off the route. So right now, when his foot sticks in the ground, the ball should be here or going here, because at least you get a chance to get some of it back, break one tackle, you can make a big play. But again, because he's been hit, you start expecting that rush. And even though it's not there yet, he's holding the ball, waits on that rush, spins out of there, throws it away. Should have had yards. And one last play, I think it's important to note something that A&M did right here on the hash. See, it's 4th and 2. In the fourth quarter, Ole Miss has to have this. And they line up in 2-by-2 in the shotgun. It's obvious that A&M is going man-to-man and man-to-man on top of the 2-by-2. But what they do is they have the free safety in the middle, and the other safety in this package is bracketing A.J. Brown. So basically, they're going single up against everybody on the field that's lined up as a receiver, except A.J. Brown, who they're going to have another defender in there to help get 2 guys on 1, force the ball to somebody else other than A.J. Brown. And it works. Now, the read is correct. Quarterback has seen that and realizes this is the one-on-one. And this is a deal where against man-to-man, because he's going to be on you, your rule is you run away from man-to-man, whereas if it were zone, that's when you sit up. This is a mistake right here, quarterback and receiver setting up against man-to-man where he needs to turn and run. If you notice, A.J. Brown is trying to bring it across because he's read it as man-to-man. When you sit down there, that's really easy on the DB to make a play. Bulldogs will have their hands full with A.J. Brown and some of those receivers, but the biggest key will be watch that A&M film. And if you get pressure and win that line of scrimmage, generally across 4 quarters, you're going to have success. And as good as A&M's defensive front played and has been throughout the year, the fact is State's has been better. So if they play like they have, Montez Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons and those guys, State ought to have some success during the ball game. I want to remind you to head on over to RenaissanceNation.com. If you like this video, kind of niche little inside looks, a unique perspective on some things maybe you haven't seen before, I think you'll really like some of the videos you're going to see there at RenaissanceNation.com. There's a lot of people that are there and kind of interacting, and there's some videos there I think you're really going to enjoy if you haven't seen them already. So check that out. Again, that's RenaissanceNation.com. Thanks for watching. If you like my video here, maybe like my Facebook page. I post this kind of stuff almost every day. And then head on over to Instagram and Twitter. Follow me there as well. I am Radio Wyatt. All right. See you next time.